Thank you. We couldn't figure that out. Hey, thanks. It's great to be here and see so many familiar faces. I agree a little bit with what Brendan said. It's always amazing. It feels good to be in a group where everybody just wants to come and learn and everything else. He mentioned my dad who's sitting over there, and my brother and I talk about it all the time. It's really amazing. He's almost 80 years old, hasn't coached a team in a few years, still goes and works basketball camps. In fact, he's going to work for Coach Showalter here in the next couple of weeks, and comes to clinics and takes notes like no one else. And it's sort of the secret of success when you look around. I mean, the people you see working at these things are a lot of times the people you would think, well, what the heck do they need to be here for? I mean, we've got over here, Ed Kirshner's a National Coach of the Year. He's sitting here taking notes. Okay? Down in front, people you might not even know. I mean, we've got a Hall of Famer in Lynn Dunn right here. It's the second time in a row that I've spoken at Coaching U that she's been there. Nell Fortner. These are people with incredible success, and they're sitting here taking notes like they're first-time coaches. And to me, that's sort of the secret. And then so the next question is, well, if that's the secret, then where the hell have I been the last 2 days? Okay? But see, the reason I haven't been here is now I have personnel duties, and we're trying to fill out our roster. And that goes back to the best thing I have ever learned at a clinic. 30 years ago, New York State High School Coaches Clinic, okay? Hubie Brown got up and spoke for an hour and a half. And if you've ever had the pleasure of listening to Hubie, you just simply sit there and try to keep up in your notes for an hour and a half. And we did that. And then following Hubie was Abe Lemons. And a lot of us, I'm looking out, a lot of you are way too young to know who Abe Lemons is. But Abe Lemons, at the time, was a coach at the University of Texas. And he got up and he said, boy, that was a great clinic. Did y'all take a lot of notes? He said, you can put your pins away now. He said, because I'm going to tell you in one sentence everything I know about coaching. So he diagrammed up on the board. He put 5 O's in a 1-2-2 set, okay? And then he put 5 big X's, guarding them. And he said, if my X's are bigger and faster than your O's, I win. That was it. And then he told stories for an hour, and we all laughed. And when we went home, but that's what I've been doing for 2 days because he's right, okay? And anybody that's in college, well, at any level, you know that. And so I haven't been able to be here as much as I would have liked. This is Kevin and Brendan do an unbelievable job putting together clinics and getting great speakers. I happen to have the chance to work with 2 of them. Steve Clifford I worked with for 5 years. Eric Spolstra, who won't admit it, but he's going to be a Hall of Famer, I worked with for 10 years. Those guys are just unbelievable coaches, along with, you know, I know everybody else on the program, and so you've been very, very fortunate here. One thing before I get into my topic here is, and Don just sort of mentioned it in passing at the end, but I always like to sort of direct people to what I think would be good learning things, because I'm not so sure you'll learn anything from me. So if I can give you something else, at least I feel like I've done my job. But he sort of mentioned it with the European offenses and stuff. If you get a chance and you want offensive ideas, try to get film of the European teams. I've done it a little bit before, but this year watching 2 of the best prospects in the draft coming out of Europe, got to watch a lot of European professional basketball, and offensively, those guys do some great stuff, and it's really worth watching. It's not very hard to find. You know, on the internet, you can find the games, and it's worth watching. So, my topic today is pick and roll defense, it says. So just a couple of things on that. First of all, I said to Brendan and Kevin when they gave me that topic that they clearly did not watch my team play this year at all, clearly. Because I don't think we defended a pick and roll well probably the entire season. So I don't know if they were just messing with me on that topic or felt that I needed maybe the preparation in getting ready to do a clinic would help me. I'm not sure, but we struggled. The second thing is my man Steve Clifford then came in yesterday. His topic was playing from the inside out, and he did pick and roll defense. So I think everybody's messing with me on this. All right? But so we're going to focus today on defending the high pick and roll. My brother has said all the time, and he's absolutely right, at least in the NBA, that we've become a one-play league. That's what he says. Especially when the game's on the line in the fourth quarter. You might space the floor differently, but everybody's running high pick and rolls. You can even go into the summer league, which we've been at all week. 75% of the sets, high pick and roll. Okay? Because it's hard to guard, and the guards have gotten so good making plays out of it, and everybody can space the floor with shooters, that this is what you see. And you know in our league, coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter, that's what you're going to guard. Okay, so we're going to try to focus on that a little bit and try to give you some ideas. I will say this right off the bat. There's some fundamentals that you have to stay with. One of our big things is, and we may be wrong on this, we're examining it, we may need to simplify, but we think you've got to be able to do multiple things well defensively. Okay, the guards are just too good now in making plays to say, this is how we're going to guard it all the time, okay? You've got to play to the strengths of that player and that team. And so we're going to give you 5 things that we try to do defensively, but you'll see that most of the time our rotations in the back of it are the same thing. So if I can get our group out here, let's just get point guard with the ball, somebody guarding him. Let's put, for right now, 4 and 5 down on the blocks and put 2 and 3 in the corners. By the way, anytime we're doing this, even in the middle of it, if you've got a question on this, shout it out. If you've got a question on anything else, if we have time left at the end, we'll do it. Okay? So the first thing is this. I don't care how we're defending it. I don't care if the pick and roll is with a shooter, a pick and pop type guy, or with a roll man, a 5-man, okay? I don't care what coverage we're in. There's 2 things I think that are absolutely essential if we're going to have any chance to guard the pick and roll. The first is the screener's man has to communicate early, loudly, and repeatedly, so that we know the screen is coming. Okay, so that's very important. So who's our 5-man? You are? Okay. So if our 5-man is coming up, and for now, I'm just going to say, and we'll get into this in a minute, that we're going to push the ball to his left hand. I'm yelling, weak, 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 weak. Okay, I have got to alert him that we have a screen coming up. I know you all sound that's evident. One of the things that we figured out when we sort of evaluated ourselves in the postseason, where I think we're making a mistake, is I've got a great coaching staff. And so we're all very active in practice. So going back down. So I'm standing here in practice, and what happens to us is, because everybody's into it, as our 5-man's running up, I'm yelling it, weak, weak, weak. Okay? Or my coaches are. Well, that's great, but we're taking the responsibility off of him. If he's not doing a good job talking, it doesn't matter because I'm doing all the talking, and can't necessarily do it in an 18,000 seat arena in front of everybody. So one of the things we've talked about, and I'm just throwing it out because we're trying to get better, I think defensively on the talk, especially a really good active coaching staff, you got to quiet down sometime and put the responsibility on this guy to talk and then correct him if he's not. Okay, but he's got to talk early, loudly, and repeatedly. The second thing that has to happen, and it's the biggest problem in pick and roll defense, at least for us, is this guy's got to get into the ball. He's got to get into the ball. I mean, I know we have problems. Our guards don't get into the ball, and so they're playing back off the ball. They're passing. What happens when you do that? First of all, this ball handler now has no trouble setting his man up for the screen. He can go wherever he wants to go. Okay? Because he's back, he's a sitting target for this guy. All right? And he gets nailed. And I don't know how you get into the ball and get, especially if you have to go over, I don't know how you get over a pick when you're in this position. What ends up happening to our guys is as he comes off, they turn and run this way. Good luck trying to defend a pick and roll effectively that way. Okay? So as he comes up again, regardless of what his scheme is right now, we'll get into it in a minute, especially if we're trying to get over, he's got to get into the ball and he's got to get, let me take your spot just for a second, and I've now got to control the dribbler first of all. One thing that kills you in pick and roll defense, my man back here by calling the weak is saying, I'm on this side here to help you. If I let him drive away from the pick, I'm going to get killed. Now, when you play the great players, Dwayne Wade has killed people for years driving away from the pick. If my big is here, particularly if he's up more aggressively, okay, and I let the ball handler go here, we're in trouble. I've got no help there. So I've got to get into the ball to control it, set the screen. Now, and we all know this, okay, from when we were playing, but I'm telling you, people have lost the fundamental. It's got to be this top, this my right leg and right arm have got to get over the pick. And now I'm trying to get back and get my head in front of the ball. Okay? Last thing as far as getting into the ball. We went back and forth with this with Rajon Rondo when he was in Boston. Okay, going back. Rondo's a great player. He's not a very good shooter. So how do you want to play on a guy like him? How do you play the pick and roll? You go under, right? So our thing was, you know, we didn't want to pick him up out here. We were picking him up back into here, off the ball. Now here he comes. Come on up. He's at full speed now. Full speed. And the screen's being set down here. And he comes off the pick. We're trying to go under. But he's already in the middle of the paint. So we've come to think that even when we're going to go under, we want to get into the ball a little bit up here. Come on, pick up a little bit. Because now, where is the screen always coming to? The screen's coming to the defender. All right? So now as the screen comes up, now if we want to go under, we're going under out on the floor more where we've got time to get back in front. So I think even with guys you want to go under on, when we know the screen is coming, we want to try to be into the ball. Okay? So the big's got to talk early, loudly, and repeatedly. The guard's got to get into the ball to get over and be able to control the dribbler. In my opinion, if those two things don't happen, I don't care what your scheme is, you're not going to be able to guard pick and roll. Okay, I think those things have to happen all the time. All right, and the guard's got to be a guy who's working to get back in front of the ball too. I mean, if the guard is always taken out of the play and can't get back in front, you're playing 5-on-4. And against good teams, 5-on-4 is probably not going to work very well. Okay, so now we'll talk about some of the different schemes we use. Okay, the first three, okay, will have the same backline rotations, basically, okay? And we'll try to talk about why we use them a little bit. So let's have our 4-man come up now. All right, the first thing is now, hold up just a second. I want to be clear on this when the ball's in the middle of the floor. For us, okay, for us. If we want the ball handler to go to his right hand, we're going to call whatever scheme we're in. So right now we're going to show on the pick and roll. So if I'm guarding a 4-man, if I wanted him to go to his right hand, I'd be yelling, show, 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 okay? If we wanted him to go to his left hand, we're always, so we call the scheme if it's going to his right. This is just us now. If we want him to go left, we're calling weak no matter what scheme we're in. Okay, our thing on defensive calls is we want everything one word. One word. So I don't like screen left, screen right. I'm not saying it's wrong. We want everything one word. Okay, we don't have time to have a conversation. Okay, and trying to get these young guys out of the habit. Yeah, you got a screen coming up on your right. By then the guy's laying the ball in the basket. Okay, let's just get one word. So that's what we do. Okay, so the first thing we do is we will show on the pick and roll. We will show hard. But let's say we're weakening this. I'll make one more point. Get the ball right in here. If, and this doesn't happen a lot, if the guy is just going to hold his screen here and set it, so he's given us a side, we will always force it into the pick. Now, not everybody does that. Like Chicago, Tom's a great, great defensive coach. They'll always push it away from the pick. The problem with that we've found for us is if we go over here and call the weak, okay, and this guy's a shooter, I'm over here protecting pop back, and now I'm a long way away from him. So if he's going to set, we would give it the side, and we would just call show. We would force him into this pick now, and when we say show, and it would be the same for us on the side, but I can't do side pick and roll because my man Cliff took that topic away from me. Okay? We want this on our pick and roll show at this angle. First of all, we want to get out. Our angle will be at the corner of half court there where the sideline intersects half court. That's where we want to be going. We obviously want to time this up, but as he comes off, and this is the biggest problem in the shows, particularly we're talking right now in the show, and this is when we would use this a lot. This guy's a three-point shooter, a pick and pop shooter. Okay, the biggest mistake your guys will have guarding the shooter is what? They want to get back to him. So we'll get guys going, show, 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 set the screen. Nail his ass. Set the screen. And now I'm running back to him because I don't want my guy to get a three and he's turning the corner. Okay, going back. The show has got to be out. First of all, angle to half court. I am trying, and again, I know this isn't totally realistic, but we all know we get slippage. I am trying to get closer to the ball than the screener, okay? Because if I'm back, what do I open up if I don't get out far enough? If I don't get up far enough, what do I open up? The split, okay? So I'm trying to get closer to the ball than the screener, angle to half court, and I've got to get away from my guy so now the guy guarding the ball can get over the pick and under me. if I stay attached and this guy's a shooter, hey, look, if one of these guys can't play, it's not that hard to guard. No, I'm just saying, if he can't shoot, then we're just going under. And if he can't shoot, and he's a 4-man, I can get back and play 2 on the ball. The tough part is when they can both play. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So I've got to get out and give him room. If I do this on my show, where's he supposed to go? So you people have to be aggressive and get out. So now I want to make him change directions. Now on the show, as he goes, we will take 1 slide up the court. Only 1. We do not want to go laterally. Because again, I'm guarding the guy on the pick and pop. I don't want to get stretched out. We've got to convince our guys I need to be more aggressive on the show. All right, if he takes a dribble out, I'll take 1 slide. But I'm going up the court, so as he pops, now I'm coming back with my hands up hard on that, and he's over and back in front. Okay, questions on that? Not easy to do. So we will do this. Look, I'm not going to be one of these guys. We do this every day. I don't think there's anything we do every day. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. But we do 2-on-2 pick and rolls where the guy's got to pick and pop because there's nobody to protect on the roll. We do that 3/4 of our practice is 2-on-2, just working on that technique on the show. Okay, go on back again. Take it up top. Now, yes, sir. Okay, that's a good question. If he's coming on if he's linked to him, he should be able to get a show. So when he's running up, we want to be attached. Okay, shoulder, I'm not jumping out right now, but I'm attached. Okay, great question though. If he gets away from me, some teams will screen down for the screener. If I'm trailing, we don't try to show because, again, if I'm showing late, what am I giving up? The split. The guards are too good if that's a guy we have to go over on. And we'll get to what we do on this, but we will go to what we call a zone if I'm late. And I'll get to that in a minute so you'll see the coverage. Okay, go on back. Now, that was when the guy was set. If he's coming up the middle, okay, if he's coming up the middle, and we don't know which side, he might even set in the middle, but if he's coming on the run, we will call weak. Now, 2 things on this. So we're calling weak, and I'm attached to him. He's forcing the ball weak, set it. If he gets out, same thing. I'm showing on this side and getting back, okay? Now, what will this, we're just talking about pick and pop guys right now. What will the shooter do a lot if he knows I'm showing? Slip. Now, some of them to the rim, which we'll get to in a minute, but we've got a guy, Anthony Tolliver, who does a great job. He's running to here. Soon as he feels this, he's running to the 3-point line and he's wide open. If we get a slip, our rule is this. Weak, weak, weak. Go ahead, slip out. Slip. I hold 1 count to let him have a chance to get back in front, and I'm flying at this guy. Again, 1 word, slip. That's all we call. Okay? So we're trying to weak this. We will do it when the guy's coming up the middle. Now, the other time we show, unless we're switching, we will always show against pick and pop guys, shooters. Go on back down. But let's say our 5-man is coming. Normally, we are not going to be in a show against big guys rolling to the rim. Okay? Because we know when we show, he's going to get behind us and force rotation. But what has happened, and again, my brother got me thinking about this. What's happened to our game is, and we'll get to it in a minute, it's a great coverage, but more and more people are dropping. They're putting their bigs back in the lane for good reason, which we'll get to. But so what happens over time is guards now, a lot different than 20 years ago when I came into the league, where everybody was pretty aggressive on pick and roll defense. Guards now are used to that big guy laying back in the lane. And so they're coming off and they're on the attack. All right? So there's times, I think, where even with our fives, we want to get out and show. Now, Eric, he's not talking on defense, but when Eric comes up, Miami's the most aggressive pick and roll defensive team in our league. They do a great job. And one of the problems you have is guards play 70 games where the big's back in the paint, and all of a sudden now somebody's jumping out in their face. Okay? And I think you've got to give guys different looks. So now we'll start to talk about our rotation a little bit. All right? 5-man's coming up. Let's back up just a little. We don't want the screen out that far. So we'd be calling weak. Okay? He's going to get out here and show. Bring him in here. All right? He's going to get out here and show. Now, go ahead. Show out here. Okay. 5-man is going to roll. We'll show you 3 different things and talk about our rotation on the roll guy. Okay? So he's going to show. When you show, you're always going back to your own guy, whether he pops or rolls. So we're showing. Now, right now, what we're going to do is roll and replace, okay? So we talked about communication. It's weak. We're on the show. The next communication we've got to have is we have got to have one of those guys in the back calling low. They're the low man. They're going to take the roll. But one of the things they have to know, okay, and we'll give you one exception later, is these wing guys have to know that our 4-man is almost never going to be the low man. His guy's not going to stay here. I don't think anybody does that in our league. Come off the pick. He rolls and he stays there on this side. I haven't seen that. He's either going to replace, he's going to come to the ball and post over here, or he's going to spread to the corner, which we'll talk about in a minute. But he's not going to stay there. So this weak side wing now has to know he's going to be the low man. So we're rolling and replacing right now. He's anticipating he's going to be the low man. So as we come off, now he's showing and recovering. I'm yelling low, low, low. Now again, we might do more game plan stuff than your people are capable of. Okay? If this guy is an average 3-point shooter, our 4-man will try to bump him coming down the lane and then recover. But he's responsible for the roll. Now, if this is a great 3-point shooter, okay, if this is Ryan Anderson from New Orleans, okay, I think we've got one of them now. Ersan Ilyasov, we don't even bump. We're just coming up with the shooter. This is our low guy. If this pass comes through to him and we score or foul, it's on him. He's the low guy. I'm taking the roll. As he's coming back on the run, we're trying to get in front. I always, when I'm the low man, I always take the roll on the outside and try to bump him back in. Because if I come all the way over in front, I've got no chance to get back out there. I'm also trying to shorten his recovery by pushing him back. All right? So you're the low man. You're taking the roll. Let's say you're still out there. Okay? So here's the low. He's calling low, low, low. This guy's not going to run out in a denial. Okay? If he's the low man in this set, his job is first pass to the weak side. First pass to the weak side. So if he's able to skip this to the corner, we call X. He's going here. He's going here, right. He's pulling in to protect, as he's coming back. That's our rotation, and it'll be the same if we'll get to it in a minute. It would be the same if we're trapping the ball out here on the show. Any question on that? Okay, that's on the roll and replace. Yeah. No, okay, come on back. Run it again. We're not really worried about that. So in other words, as he's running up, he's not set giving us a side. On the run, we're calling weak, weak, weak. The ball handler's right there. Now, if he steps out to go to the other side, it would be just like a slip for us. There's no screen now. I'm calling slip. My job is, come on, hold the count. Get back in front. I'm back to my man. Now, if he were to come and we call it a twist and re-screen and we can't keep it over there, I'm just calling either my show or zone, whatever I'm in, and we're going again on it, okay? But we're not trying to figure out where he's going to set the screen. That's why we don't know when he's coming up the middle. We're just calling the weak, okay? Anything else? Yeah. Yes. Absolutely right. That's exactly what happens. So I will go back to, on that one, what Don Showalter said about handling guys, you know, with the big egos. I mean, do it once, I'm going to yell at you. Do it a second time, sit on the bench. I know this. We might not be able to find great players who can do a lot of things. If guys want to play, I'll find somebody who will come in and take the role, man. I'll find somebody, okay, who will say, oh, shit, that's all I got to do to play? I got to come in and take the role, man? I'll do that. I mean, they've got to be there, okay? They've got to take the role. Now, I will say this to you. We are debating this. Again, I told you, we were terrible on pick and rolls. The one thing, let's run the roll and replace again. Call the weak. Get out and show. I'm going to take your spot. Okay, you're roll and replace. Bump if you can. I'm low, low. Now, we've always said as the guy rolls that we're going to come over here and be very physical on the contact. All right? I'm debating if that's what we should do or if we should just be in here anticipating the pass. Because the problem with this contact when this is 270 pounds rolling down the lane at a two guard is, you know, I'm bad when I get knocked off balance. It's tough for me to get the next closeout. Like if you watch LeBron, some of the better defenders, and he's strong enough, he won't take the roll physically. He'll come in ready to steal the pass, but his feet are freed up to be able to close out. So we're debating that. But what we have done thus far, okay, has been to always take the roll on that, okay? All right, go on back. Let's do the same thing again now. We're just talking about our rotations. Everybody's good on how we're showing. Everybody's good on the weak call. We know what we want from this guy. Now, I should have made this point. 70% of the guards in the league, we're saying to our guards to start the game over or under and get back in front. Now, there are some guys that we will never go under on. There are some guys we will never go under on. All right, because of their ability to shoot the ball off the dribble. Okay? And then there are some guys that we get very upset if we get caught going over on. Okay? Because of their ability to make plays and their inability to shoot the ball. But in general, we're telling them over or under back in front. Now, this one has become very popular, and this is one of the hardest ones to defend. So if our five-man comes up and we're showing, okay, show, get all the way out. As he's rolling, and again, this rotation will be the same on a couple of other teams. Let him come off on the dribble first. This guy will do what we call punch, and he's coming over here and posting up. Step up a little bit. They're looking right here. Now we've got big guy rolling to the rim. It doesn't change our low man, right? Our low man's still at weak side corner. But what's different now? There's nobody to X for him. So this is the hardest, and everybody now is trying to run things to get into this situation in our league, to where you've got a single side bump, because it's really hard now. First of all, we deny that. All right, we never wanted to go here. But now as I'm taking the bump, come on, he's rotating up. I've got to get this bump, and there's nobody to X for me. So I've got to take away the layup, and I've got to close on the three-point shooter. Very, very difficult. I mean, if this is Kyle Korver, you know, Danny Green, there's a number of guys, this is really, really tough to get to. The one thing I do think, going back, if we're in this, and this is a big part about finishing your defense, all right, is we've got to have great pursuit on this pass. So he sets it, get out, show, you're punching, you got the low man, okay, he's got the roll, come on up on the dribble, all right, he's on the roll, you're recovering hard, he comes up, make this pass. All right, now, we've got to know who this is. First of all right? But normally, if they're running this, this is a sticker right here. So he's got one job. He's got to get him off the three-point line. Okay? What we say to our guys all the time is, we can't help you on the three. You got to get there. We can help you if he puts the ball on the floor. So we talk about these kind of situations. We talk about pursuit, and this has got to be a team closeout. As that ball goes, he's got a very difficult job. He is on a dead-ass sprint to run him off the three-point line. These guys have all, hold on, as soon as that ball's in the air, they can't be waiting. He's got to be coming to the ball. He's got to be coming to the ball. He's got to get inside here, and he's got to get here. Because, look, if he's doing his job to run him off the three, 90% of the time, he's going to get beat off the dribble. What we don't want him to do is fly. What most guys want to do, that's Kyle Korver, that's Danny Green. They want to go to here and now fly. Think they're doing, that's not getting him off the line. Okay? Because what's this guy going to do then? When you fly, if he's a three-point shooter, he's not going to the rim. You fly, he goes, and he knocks down the three, and you think you've made a great effort. No. We want him running right at him to take his space away. We want him to have to drive the ball. Okay? I'm just saying to you, obviously there's the exceptions that are the great, great players. If I or any of you had the defense against those guys, well, then we'd all be winning all the time. All right? I don't have the defense against LeBron and guys like that. All right? I don't. But most guys, the stickers, are not necessarily great making plays off the dribble. I got to make him put it on the floor with everybody rotating, and now I want these guys to have to make passes off the dribble. That's what we're trying to get done, okay? So that's if the four-man punches. He goes to the strong side. Questions on that, on what we're trying to do? Yeah. To throw the lob. Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute, because one of the things that has really started to change the game, it used to be, even when I came in the league, which wasn't that long ago, 20 years ago, the guy either picked and popped or he rolled. Now, what you're seeing a lot is what we call a short roll, catch the ball, free throw line, all right? That's really hard. We're going to get to that in a minute, and that's what the Clippers do, okay? And a lot of teams do. But Blake Griffin being one of the best passers in our league up front, they can use him now. I'm going to get to that, okay? All right, going back. Any questions on that? Now, yeah. We want to try to tag him as high as we can, but we do have guys that will back cut out of the corner for the lob, okay? Now, what we'll try to do in those situations is get more pressure on the guard. But in general, we want to try to meet the roll man as high as we can, okay, because it shortens our closeout. If I lay back here to take the roll man, now my closeout's even longer. So we want to try to meet him as early as we can and shorten the close. Okay? Anybody else? Yeah. What do you mean?
If someone tries to screen the ball screen so you can't go out and show.
Okay, and I'm going to get to, anytime we're late and can't get to a show, we'll do what we call zoning, which I'll get to in just a minute, okay? And then that's what we'll go to. All right, last rotation thing on this, at least of the stuff we see most frequently, is people will spread. So now our 5-man's coming up. The call is still the same week. This guy now is a shooter, and he'll go opposite corner to the ball. So as we come off, he spreads this way. He comes up. Now who's the low man? Our 4-man is. So go on back. We said, and we say to our team all the time, anytime we see high pick and roll, the guys in the corners have to anticipate that they're going to be the low man and be ready to take the roll, because that's what's going to happen in most situations. But just because they're anticipating it doesn't mean it's always going to happen. So if he goes to set the pick and now we spread to the corner, this guy is yelling what? Low, low, low. So he knows he doesn't have the roll anymore. Okay, come on up. We're way too far out. Yeah, come on back. Anytime we're that far out, I don't know. I was going to say on everybody, but the way Steph Curry shoots the ball, maybe we wouldn't even go under out here. But everybody else, if they're out there, I don't care what our scheme is, we're going under, and he would be telling you. But in here now, even get it back a little more. Yeah, right there, outside the 3. Okay, so now the 4-man now is going to be our low man. Come on. He's taking the roll. What's his job? What we say, what's his job on a spread? First pass. So if we've got a great passer up there, LeBron can certainly make this pass if he's handling. You're in at the elbow. Come up even higher. If he skips it to the corner, close out, he's yelling what? X. I'm coming back here, and where do these guys all have to be coming? To the ball. That part of the defense is the part that gets screwed up all the time. And you all know this. I'm on the guard, and I'm fighting like hell to get over the pick. That's hard work. And when my guy now gets off the ball, my tendency is to do what? Relax. All right, got over the pick, and now I'm not ready to help. Okay? This guy back here, same thing. He's just showed on the pick and roll, sprinted to a recovery. He's now looking to rest. Okay? This guy's just damn glad he's not involved in the play, so he's hanging out the whole time. So the key to this, really, as much as the pick and roll is hard and that closeout is hard, is those back 3 guys have to understand that that guy's got a difficult job and he's probably going to get beat off the dribble. We got to be helping. This guy, as he X's, has got to be back in this gap. Okay, we've got to know, if we're telling this guy he's got to bust his ass and run him off the 3-point line, then these guys have got to do their job. Because the first time that guy drives by him on the closeout and dunks the ball, okay, his next closeout's going to be 3 feet short, and we're giving up the 3. So we've got to have everybody pursuing. All right? Any question? Yeah, go ahead. You know what? It's a great question. We're trying to just get there. Okay? So again, we would say no middle on that, but I'm going full speed trying to run Kyle Korver off the 3. Okay? Guy shoots 51% from 3, and his release is like that. Actually, a little quicker than that. I'm just trying to get there. I'm being realistic. Like, I really don't care where we're forced at that point. Just get the guy off the 3-point line if we can. Okay? All right, now, this next stuff we can get through pretty quick. So those basic rotations in the back don't really change. Okay? They don't really change. But we said we had 5 schemes. So I've done 1, and I've got about 20 minutes left, okay? But we can get through the rest of the stuff pretty quickly. All right, now, if we want to be really aggressive on the guard, okay? If we want to be really aggressive on the guard, if it's Chris Paul, if it's Steph Curry, you saw Cleveland doing it in the playoffs, and your number 1 objective is just, I got to get the ball out of his hands. Let somebody else make a play. After fooling around and trying to do everything else for a couple of years with Steve Nash, this is what we got to. Like, screw everything else. Let's play 4. We'll play 4-on-3 against the other guys rather than have Steve Nash making plays. I mean, and you all know you're going to run against guards that are that good. Okay, that the hell with everything else. Let's just make somebody else make a play. We will blitz. It's a trap, okay? Now, when we blitz, so the 5-man's coming up, again, our call is the same. We'd be calling weak. We know the scheme, game plan-wise. All right, he's setting it here. Now, a little different than we used to do. When I came in the league with Pat Riley, he would really jump out and be aggressive on the blitz. The problem is, again, who are we blitzing? Great players, normally. Now, sometimes we'll blitz guys to try to force a turnover. But we're normally blitzing the Chris Pauls, Steph Currys of the world. Okay, if I jump out too hard as a 7-foot center, I'm getting split, I'm fouling, everything else. So we will do this on a touch, no split, and now we're just trying to slide. I'm not trying to jam him in a hard trap and turn him over. We're keeping 2 guys on the ball. Our rule on the blitz is, okay, it used to be this. We were on the blitz until he picked up the ball, okay, or until he back dribbled out. We've even taken that one out. Because what will Steph Curry do? Back dribble, 5 releases, and now he's going back at us. We want to get him off the ball. We'll just stay on it. Okay? Our rotations don't change. So let's say we're rolling and replacing. We're bumping. Our guy in the back is the low man. Everything is the same, right? Everything is the same. And we're coming back, all right? But we're staying on the trap. Going back. Let's come with our 4-man now. We almost never do this against the shooter because you're just opening up shots. But late in the game against a great point guard, occasionally come up the middle, we'll call the weak. We're going to blitz it, but he picks and pops. We're staying 2 on the ball. All right, now, this will change our rotation, okay? When we're blitzing, we're in what we call a full rotation always. It's a lot easier against the 5-man when he's rolling to the rim because everybody ends up back with their own people. If we do get a pick and pop, okay, now, our guy on the corner's got to be halfway. Here comes this pass. Rotate. You're always going to the rim, right? Next pass. Now, if we've got our 5-man closing on the corner, that's good. Everybody's got to come back because he's getting beat every time if he's taking away the 3. And again, I'm being honest with you. We probably blitzed against the shooting 4. I don't know. I mean, I just finished my 8th year as a head coach. We probably blitzed a 4-man less than 8 times in 8 years. It's just really hard to cover. But that, we will work on it occasionally against the great players in case we have to go to it late. Okay? So that's our blitz. Now, come on back. Let's come with the 5-man again. Again, same rotations. Our next scheme, and we'd still call weak. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this. Weak for us is always force them to their left hand. So if this is a left-handed point guard, we would simply call zone and push him to his right. Weak does not mean they're weak hand. I don't think the chances that both our guard and our big guy are smart enough and alert enough to remember what the hell is going on is less than 50%. Okay? So weak is always to the left, strong is always to the right. Now we're hoping that our big guy realizes that this guy is left-handed and we're going to push him into the zone on the right side. But if he doesn't, at least we've got the guard and the big together. Now, occasionally you'll get a guard who wants to decide. He knows the pick's coming, and he's going, no. No, the big is calling it. Because the number one thing we want are the big and the guard to be on the same page. Okay, so we're in our week. Now, when we say a zone, okay, here's all we're doing. This one, the guard really cannot go under on, and you'll see why. Set it here. So on a zone, it starts like a blitz. Okay? Hand on, no split. I'm going to do what we call string it out. As he comes, I'm guarding him straight. Come on. And I'm retreating just a little to let him get back in front, but I'm not staying on the blitz so that we can get recovered a little quicker. We call that a zone. Okay? Everybody understand what we're trying to do? There is absolutely no difference in any of the rotations. Everybody's job's the same. The difference is if we're blitzing, these guys are back here 3-on-2 for a good long time. If I'm zoning, hopefully we speed up our recovery. And that's another point that I neglected when I was talking about the show, the blitz, the zone. It doesn't matter, okay? One of the big keys to your pick and roll defense, the biggest key is your guard gets over the ball, gets into the ball and actually wants to get over the pick and back in front of the ball. Okay? Most of them don't. All right? But the second thing is the big has got to do his job, whatever it is. Show, zone, blitz, and he's got to sprint into his recovery. If he's slow, now we're playing 3-on-2, okay, for quite a while. The harder your guys can recover off their pick and roll defense, the better your pick and roll defense will be. All right, any question on show, zone, blitz? Weak is obviously a call for any of those? Yeah, Scott.
If you're going under,
Yes.
you sometimes tell your bigs to zone as the under's happening.
The problem with the zone on under, come on, if we're going to go under, we will generally show, okay? Or, which we'll get to in a minute, different rotation will drop. But the problem on the zone is, okay, go under. I'm here. Where's he go? I'm in his way, getting back in front. So it's tough. You can go under on a show. You can go under on a drop, which we'll do. But I think it's hard to go under on a zone. We used to say that. We'd say zone and they could go over or under. You know, you learn a lot from your players. And, you know, Jameer Nelson's like, where the hell do you want me to go? You know, the guy's right in front of me, okay? He's also the one that got me to quit picking Rondo up back there and picking him up out here. I mean, at least at our level, our guys know what the hell's going on, you know, and they know when they're seeing stuff that doesn't make any sense too. So they'll tell you. All right, any question, any more on those? Show, zone, and blitz. On which one? If we're zoning, all he's trying to make sure on the zone is that he's not letting the ball turn the corner. And he's buying time for the guard to get back in front. Yeah. Okay, come on up in a horn set. Give me 4 and 5 right there. Okay, now, generally, what we see is 5's a roll man, okay? 4 is a shooter, all right? So this could change based on personnel. But normally what we'll do is send it off of 5, okay? And so again, whether we're showing, zoning, or blitzing, we're going to push it off of 5, okay? And now it's the same thing. So what normally happens is he's zoning, let's say. Who's the low man? Boom, same thing. Go ahead, roll. He's a low man. His job is first pass, ready to X. We're in our normal defense. Go on back. If this guy was a shooter, we should be calling weak to push him left. If he does get right, we would show on this because he's a shooter. So we're staying in our normal defense. Okay? Questions on that? All right, now, anything else on those 3 yet? If he has to, if the pass goes to the corner, yes. Yeah. Now, I should make this point on the X. Just a second. Come off of 5. All right, let's zone this. All right, no, you're up here in the horn set. Low man, right? He's rolling, okay? I should have made this point. So his job is to X, but look, if the ball goes over the top, hold up. Here's what we actually do. His job is to X. So as soon as he sees that, he's going. But so is he. He's not the one calling the X. So a lot of times these guys will forget, or they're guarding a great shooter, they're too high. So as soon as I see the ball go as the low man, I'm here. Now, if this guy is starting to go and he doesn't see the low man back in front of him, he's on his X and he goes. If I go and I've got somebody really quick down there, go ahead, say you're already there. I turn to X, he's already there, perfect. I'm right in the gap. So I'm always going. He's always thinking X, but sometimes that low man can get there. Okay? You had one. What's that? Yeah. Which one? Over here on the side? Now a little bit different, but similar concepts with the low man, yes. Right, I know what you're talking about. We're moving over, we run it a lot. We're moving over in here and the guy's stepping up. Yeah, same rules, but we'll always push it to the outside. Yeah. Nope. The question was, do the rules change if it's like the 3-man replacing up or anything? No. See, it used to be, people were more conventional on pick and rolls 20 years ago. So when I came in the league as an assistant to Pat Riley, just learning, everything was 4 and 5 rotating for each other. But then people started to do a lot more of this stuff, sending their 4s to the corner. Sometimes a 4 would be in the strong side corner. The rotations became impossible. So for us, it's the same all the time. If it's LeBron handling the ball, then our point guard will be in the rotations. Yeah. No, dribble a handoff. Again, we're only talking about this, but it would be the same for us. Low man would have the roll man. We zone all dribble handoffs. We don't show because if I jump too early, the guy fakes a handoff and goes. But it would all be the same. Our terminology might be a little different, but it would all be the same. Well, you mean if a guard's coming up to set the high pick and roll? Okay, so we get this. Let's put 4 in the corner. Handle the ball. So, you get this a lot, right? With, well, let's, who's our 3-man over there? You handle the ball, okay? Well, you're on defense. Your man handle the ball, okay? You come set the pick. You go to that corner. So, this is one of the harder ones to defend. Okay, Cleveland does a lot of this. LeBron, Kyrie Irving running up to set the pick and roll. Okay? You know why it's hard to defend? Because this is LeBron and that's Kyrie Irving. No, really. I get this question all the time. Coaches will ask, what's the hardest thing to guard? My answer is always players. Players. Because I'll bet we can guard a 3-1 pick and roll if it's these two guys. I'll bet I could figure that out. LeBron and Kyrie, a little different. Okay? So now, what are your choices here? What are your choices? If he's going to run up, come on. What are your choices? Switch, which we'll get to in a minute. So if you switch now, right? LeBron's taking your point guard and he's just backing him down into the lane until you do what? Come with the second guy and he's still creating an open shot. All right? But that's one option. What's your second option? Yes. Okay? Thank you. So what we try to do at the start of games is we try to show hard, okay, and go under. Okay, so we'll give him the long pull-up, but the fact that we're showing at least makes him go out there. Now, why you're even listening to me on this, I don't know. Because 2009 playoff series, LeBron averaged 37 against us, and he had one 50-point game here in Orlando when we opened the new building. So really, you shouldn't even pay attention to me right here. All right? But we try to show and go under because with him, we're always, even though he can really shoot the ball now, we're just trying to keep him out of the paint. Okay? But we get a lot of Kyrie Irving slipping out and stuff. We will switch. The other thing you can do, and I didn't want to get into this today, okay, we just call squeeze. So when we squeeze, we're going to take the shooter out. We did this year with Nowitzki and Rondo. Again, why can you do it? I said to begin with, what's hard is when both guys can shoot the ball. Rondo can't, okay? So on the squeeze, you know, they used to run this at the elbow with Nowitzki. I mean, with Nowitzki setting the pick, okay, we would just squeeze right here. You're going under. Okay, going under. I'm just keeping my body on my guy. He's out of the play now. There's no pick and pop. The other thing when you squeeze, going back, when you squeeze, the one advantage you have is he can't adjust his screen down now. So against under, what's he going to try to do if we know we're going under? He's going to try to move his screen lower. If I squeeze, he can't move his screen down. I'm just holding my ground. He can get under and get back in front, okay? We don't do this very much, but you can do it. All right, I do want to get to these last couple things. Then I'll answer more questions you have them. So show zone blitz. Now we added squeeze, which I didn't plan to. Let's get our point guard back up here. All right, everybody in our normal spots. 5-man coming up. Now, let's say we're zoning even. We're going to weak to a zone. Here's what, to me, has changed the game. Okay? Let's say right now, you're going to punch. Okay, so he's coming off. We zone. Now, it's easy when the guy rolls all the way to the rim. But what's happened in the league against any aggressive pick-and-roll defense is a short roll. So you're out on the zone. They're throwing this pass right here to the free throw line. Okay? Now what are you doing? We're 4-on-3. Somebody asked about the Clippers. That's it right here, Blake Griffin. So now, if my low man comes and takes this, wide open 3. Okay? Go ahead. If my big man comes and takes it, well, DeAndre Jordan left. But before he left, throw the ball up like to there, and he catches it and dunks it. Okay? So, what we would do on that rotation, first of all, just to tell you what we would do, no matter how they align, is our big guy here on the pass Well, now we're not going to challenge that at all. You've now got to come in and hard, like hit the shit out of him, okay? Because that ball's going to the rim. 5-man may just have to space to the. I'm not going to challenge. If he wants that jumper, even though Blake Griffin's a pretty good shooter, there are very few guys in our league who shoot over 50% on 2-point jump shots. We'll just fake it him and play this and stay back. Everybody's in and we're just scrambling. Okay, it's very, very difficult to do. We played them early in the year. We started the game. We were going to blitz Chris Paul. Blake Griffin just went right to the nail. They threw him the ball and he made plays. Okay? We stayed in it for a while because they missed threes. All right? But this, I show it only to tell you this. Number one, it's hard to cover, and that's something we're spending all summer on, trying to see if we can have a better way to cover it. But the second thing is, that's why so many teams in the league have gone to the drop. So come on back. Let's have our force spread this time. Now, the drop can be done two ways. If you watched Indiana with Roy Hibbert, this is the drop. Okay? Drop, and he's literally stayed back here. So, you've got no in the corner for the layup because Roy's 7'2" and does a great job being vertical. There's no roll man, okay, because he's back here, which means these guys don't have to pull in. All right, so it's hard for you to create a three. What they're going to try to make you do is take 2-point jump shots. All right? But because the roll man can never get behind you, we don't have to come in off of these guys. I mean, they'll shrink the floor, but they don't have to commit. And so now you don't have the roll. So come on off the pick. So now they always go over. They're trying to force the guy in again to a 2-point, trying to get back in front. But 2-point jump shot, if you want to throw it there and have your big shoot 2s, there's not very many 3-point shooting 5s, they'll give this up. Okay? That's the concept of the drop, to keep you out of rotations. Now, going back, they're able to do it pretty well. Number one, because Hibbert was a great, great, great basket protector. Okay? Great. And the second thing is, George Hill out here on top is great on the ball. And he will fight his ass off to get over picks and back in front. Okay? Don't even think of doing this if you've got some softy out here on the ball. Okay? Because there's not much help from the big. But it does keep you out of rotations. Everybody's done it. Now, the way we would like to play it, okay, because our guards aren't quite as good on the ball, and we don't want to just surrender all that airspace, and you can still do it, is when we call the drop, we want to just be one step below the screener. Okay, so I'm in a drop. As he comes up, again, over or under and back in front, my job is now, I'm going to retreat with the dribble. I'm going to stay between the ball and the basket. So no matter where he goes, I'm between the ball and the basket, but I'm retreating and not letting the roll man behind me. Work on this a lot 2-on-2. It's very difficult, but what we're saying, come on back, to the screeners man and the man on the ball, you two, the two guys in the pick and roll, have to play the pick and roll. We're not committing anybody else to it. All right, you got to play the pick and rolls. We will do that to take away threes. Now, when we started doing it this year, it would be late in the game with a lead. This wasn't our normal defense, but we did work on it a lot, and we would go to it when we got to a point in the game that taking away the three was our primary thing. We would go to the drop. Okay? We first put this defense in when I was in Orlando. We came back from the All-Star break. 2009, and Jose Calderon was their point guard. All right? And they hit 18 threes on us. And we're playing our normal defense. He was just shredding us. And I'm a pretty smart guy. I said, that shit didn't work. Okay? So then we said we've got to have something to go to. This was it. So our difference would just be that. Step below the ball, not let the guy roll behind you. These two guys weak side trying to read the play. Trying to read the play. They might be able to pick up a steal, something like that. But that big, it's hard, especially if the roll man's a lob threat, to play the ball and take away the lob, but it's an important thing to have. And then everybody is doing, thanks guys, I think we can end it up now. All right. So that's the other thing that has changed. I don't remember 20 years ago very many guys coming off the pick and roll and throwing the lob. Okay, it was a bounce pass. You could rotate in. So that and the short roll have changed. Again, our thought is you've got to almost have all of those things. But it's something that we're looking at because it may be too much or too many things to try to do well. Any other questions? I'm already a couple minutes over, and if it were me sitting there, you can tell I don't miss lunch, so I'll try not to keep you too long, but I'll take a couple. Oh, well, off a double screen. You mean a double pick and roll? Okay, so for us, it's pretty simple. The second screener, okay, the second screener, or if they're stacked, the low man, okay? The second man or the low man, depending if they're staggered or if they're in a stack, calls double, okay? It means he's not going to do anything on the pick and roll, or it means the first guy's not going to do anything on the pick and roll. So if they're setting a staggered screen on the ball and I'm the second guy, I'm yelling double, double. The first guy's not going to do anything. I mean, he'll slide with the ball and zone it up a little so he doesn't go in between them. But then will be our normal rules on the second guy setting the screen. Okay? Normal rules. Whatever scheme we're in. Show, zone, blitz, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's really not that hard. You know, you hire really, really good people. So I hired Jeff Bauer as my general manager. We got 3 really good assistant general managers. During the season, I maybe put in an hour a day, tops, in terms of the personnel side of the job. I get a report from Jeff every morning, whatever decision things there have to be. That's it. I get our pro scouts, our assistant GM pro scouting, our assistant GM for the draft, both give me reports once a week, but I'm not really doing anything day to day. And then the day the season ended, which when you lose 50 games is early, then it goes the other way. So now this time of year, my assistant coaches are handling virtually all of the basketball, coaching summer league. They're out around the country with our players, working with them, and I shift over into personnel. So the answer is, and always has been for me, even when I was just coaching, is hire great people. Because I don't think at any level you do it by yourself. And I think anybody here, you know, if you ask Lynn or Nell or, you know, certainly anybody at the college level or above, you better have great people because you don't do it on your own. And that's the answer. Yeah, Scott.
The biggest thing analytics is doing for you is changing what you do on the floor basketball.
I mean, there's actually a lot of things. I mean, I think stuff like this, Scott, I mean, you do chart and have all the stats on exactly what you're giving up on all your situations. So, you know, we can go back and say, look at our defense and say, one of our problems is we're giving up too many threes. Well, where are you giving up your threes? Is it on the high pick and roll? Is it double teaming out of the post? Where are you get? I mean, we've got all that now, you know. So I would say all of those things really helping you identify statistically where your problems are is good. But you know what? I don't want to get carried away with that because most of the time, you know, what it's doing, and I think anybody who's highly involved in it as coaches, and I think it's good, but most of the time, 90% of the time, it's simply verifying what you've already seen with your eyes. I mean, you know what's going on. You know how many times LeBron's come off the pick and roll and thrown the hook pass to the guy in the weak side corner, and he's nailed the three. So when you see the stats that, you gave up 13 threes and 8 of them were on that pass, you're not like shocked. It's not like, oh, really? I didn't know he was hurting us with that. I mean, you were sitting right there getting your ass kicked all night, so you pretty much knew.
Thank you for your time. What's been your most effective strategy to keep guys locked in and connected in your absence when they're not with you on the floor?
Oh, yeah, well, they're only not with me on the floor in the off season, and they don't want to see me in the off season anyway. No, really. I mean, actually, when I was working in Miami and I went from being an assistant to a head coach, I remember when guys came back in the summer, and the first day I see them out my window, they're in the gym, you go out and you want to get involved in the workout, and assistants saying, you can't be out here because they've had enough of you. Like, I'll stop in and watch some workouts, and I will. Look, sometimes I'm the only one around. If our guys are out around the country, I'll work guys out, but not a lot, because you want them to work on their game and try to get better in the summer and not feel like they're being evaluated every day. Because a lot of times they're working on weaknesses. So they don't want to feel like the head coach is there and now I haven't been able to make a pull-up three when the guy goes under on the screen all day. I look bad. I want them to just keep working on it, So they stay pretty motivated in the summer. Money's a good motivator, at the pro level. And so you get better, you make a lot of money. That's always good. Playing time's a good motivator. So, yeah, that really hasn't been a problem. Most of the guys that aren't motivated, most of them are weeded out pretty quickly, normally before they get to us, Anything else? Yeah. Last one. The question was, do we decide in our game plan our schemes based on the ball handler or the screener? Both. And we go into every game and we will talk about it in our walkthroughs. Not on every situation, but on high pick and rolls, we always will talk about 2 different schemes, okay? So every walkthrough, we'll talk about how we're starting to get, and we'll talk about what our adjustment will be. Now, when you're playing the great teams and the great players, you might go plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. We lost, okay? But we'll go over 2 in the walkthrough so that they'll know what our first adjustment's going to be. Thank you very much. I really appreciate being here. I just want to say one thing, okay, at the end, and I know I'm gone over time, but one thing that has been big with me, I had a great example with my father, but I see it sort of falling apart in coaching, is we as coaches have to support each other. Nothing drives me crazier than people criticizing coaches. First of all, coaches criticizing coaches, I feel like wanting to kill somebody, okay? But people criticizing coaches and no other coaches coming to their defense, if we're not going to support each other, no one else is. Okay, no one else is. I mean, this day and age, it's every time somebody, and I don't care, you guys are high school coaches, it's no different. It might not be on ESPN, but it's all the parents talking, right? Damn coach, I mean, we would have won that game. Coaches have got to support coaches. So anytime you get a chance, publicly or privately, to say something positive about another coach, please do it. Okay, it's a tough profession. You're all working hard. Okay, we're all competing like hell against each other. But at the end of the day, we're all in this profession together, and we know how hard it's getting. You need to help each other out. Have a good rest of the day.